Hello and welcome to another Typical Boro podcast. I'm your host Steve Dixon. Now, we've got two games to discuss today. Obviously Coventry midweek and yesterday's tremendous 2-1 victory over Derby County. I was hoping to have this discussion with Mr. John Cutler. I was hoping to have a discussion with Mr. John Cutler as he's Tommy Conway's PA about Tommy Conway after last week's discussion about Tommy Conway to get his opinions this week on Tommy Conway. However, Mr. John Cutler was last seen legging it across the transporter bridge with 4 cans of Tennent's. He had some shortbread. He was wearing his favourite Scotland strip with Conway 11 on the back. And he hasn't been seen since. So if anybody can find the whereabouts of Mr. John Cutler, please let me know. To help me discuss Tommy Conway and all things Middlesbrough today, I'm pleased to say, as always, Mr. Graham Bandy is with me. All right, Bandy?
All good. Ready to go again. Another win.
Have you seen John Cutler? Have you seen him?
No. I'm fronting up. I'm here.
So I've got a late substitution in, and it's a good substitution. Back on the podcast again is Mr. Simon Blower. Welcome back, Simon.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back, Si.
Impact substitution, hopefully, is it?
Have you seen Mr. John Cutler? Have you seen Mr. John Cutler anywhere, Simon?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
No.
Yeah, and it was a great episode last week, I have to say. Great debate. Great debate. I loved it.
We'll get into all that. So we're going to start the podcast by just diving back for a little bit into the Coventry game. There was changes for the Coventry game. Sammy Silvera for Matt Targett, who was on the bench. Riley McGree come in for Delano Bergzog. Obviously Middlesbrough 2, Coventry 4 in a pulsating game at the Riverside in front of 26,726. Simon, I'll come to you. Your thoughts on Tuesday night against the league leaders?
Well, first of all, it was my birthday and it was a brilliant game of football, I have to say. I always think you go to a football game to be entertained. You want 3 points, of course, but first and foremost, I thought it was a brilliant advert for Championship football. That's why we love the Championship so much. Credit to Middlesbrough. I thought 2-0 down. I thought this is going to be Chelsea-esque away. It was going to be a long evening, but full credit to them. I think the resilience that we showed was brilliant, and that's been a real sort of trait of the season for me, that we've dug in at times. I thought we battled back brilliantly. Yes, a little bit of luck to get the equaliser. But I have to be honest, I always felt that Coventry would score again. I just think they look like they just had another gear. And I'm sure we'll get into the Conway miss and how pivotal that was in the game. Because I think we had them on the racks. We genuinely had them on the racks at 2-2. Thought we were playing really well. Riley McGree, I just love him as a footballer. We all get frustrated that he's not there often enough, but you just want to watch good footballers, and he's just a brilliant footballer. I thought he was brilliant first half when he did get on the ball. But ultimately, I think just the power they had up top, their substitutions. I thought Radoni, we know from last season, is just probably the best player in the Championship for me. Came on, really made a difference. And actually, yeah, Conway deserves stick for the miss. And I think, it was a big moment in the game. Personally, I think Coventry may have still gone on and scored, because I just thought they completely overpowered us for 10 minutes at the end. But brilliant game of football. I don't think there've been many standout teams in the Championship this season, but they really did stand out. They were sort of Leeds-esque and Burnley-esque from previous seasons. They just looked that little bit better. But good game of football, good character shown to get back in the game. But ultimately, I think we were beaten by a better side.
Interesting point there, Simon. As I say, I agree with most of what you've said. I thought Middlesbrough started well, and Coventry scored out the blue twice. 2 really good goals, to be fair, by Coventry. The first one by Ellis Sims, he turned into Ibrahimovic almost with the way he took the ball and caressed it into the top corner. Before the game, I was talking about Ellis Sims and saying I'm not a huge fan of Ellis Sims. He's limited as a striker and what he can provide, but on the night, the big moments, he came up with the big moments, whereas our striker didn't. And I think that was the difference for me. I thought Middlesbrough more than matched Coventry. I know Coventry had some big chances as well in the game, which they didn't put away. But I thought when Middlesbrough got back to 2-1, I said to Graham, I was standing next to Graham at the game, and I said, if we score before half-time, we're back in this game. And it proved right, and we got the 2-2. Yes, it was a bit of luck off Bobby Thomas' own goal. However, we deserved that little bit of luck, in my opinion. In the second half, I thought Middlesbrough looked the better side and had the opportunity to win the game. When we missed the opportunity with Tommy Conway, you could feel almost in the stadium, you could feel the momentum change and switch, and Coventry knew they got away with one, and with the introduction of Radoni coming on, they had the tools to then go on and win the game. But I thought Middlesbrough, as I say, I thought we deserved great credit on the night to battle back. And we're not at full strength at the moment as well, which we'll talk about later. The injuries are having a bit of an impact, I think, at the moment on Middlesbrough. Graham, did you think Middlesbrough more than matched Coventry on Tuesday night?
Yeah, on reflection, if you look back and you concede 4 goals at home, you're thinking, wow, that is an absolute hammering. But to be honest, I thought it was 2 really, really good sides on the night. I was so pleased that we managed to come back. I'm not sure whether I thought we had that in us, to be honest, at that particular time. But you were spot on, Dicko. You said if we get one back before half time, we'll start the second half a different team, and we did. And we did brilliant to get back in it at 2-2. First 10, 15 minutes, my God, we slept in beyond belief. They came out with traps very quick. Basically overloaded us on that front line. They had 3v2. They had space to knock it to Sims, and he obviously put it in. It was almost like a Thierry Henry-esque finish. It was a wonderful goal. And then again, we slept in for the second. I couldn't believe the guy actually put the ball straight back in. It was a beautiful delivery. And we were just caught short. We, again, like I say, we slept in. Great header from Kitchen. And you're thinking, oof, it's going to be a long night. But we dug in. We got the goal back from Whittaker. Good little finish into the corner, and then there was an ascendancy. The stadium was alive. Came out brilliantly second half. Got the own goal to get it back to 2-2, and then obviously the Tommy miss. You were spot on in saying that. My heart sank because obviously I've been one of his big supporters. But I didn't know where to look or where to turn after that miss. It was just an impossibility to miss from there. So gutted because yes, if we'd have scored that, we could possibly have gone on to win that game. It's easy saying that in hindsight, but I did think Coventry at any point in that game could have gone up another gear. On reflection, they're a better team than us. They were better in both boxes. I think it's important to highlight that really, and they will win the league, in my opinion, comfortably, with a lot of games to spare. I don't see anybody putting a run together to catch them because they're not going to lose many games between now and the end of the season. But from the Boro perspective, just stay in and around that top 2, please, because I think we deserve to be where we are.
I think it's a case of are they a much better team than us? I don't think they are. I think they've got better options in the front third of the pitch than Middlesbrough, but I think if you're looking at a better side, I think Middlesbrough are, as I say, struggling a little bit with some of the players we have missing at the moment, like your Dale Fries. We've got some big players missing at the moment ourselves. But goals win games. That's the whole point. Goals win games. And at the moment, unfortunately for Middlesbrough, with strikers on firing. Can we get them firing? Can Kim Hellberg get them firing? That's going to be really interesting between now and January. And then let's see what he does in January. So we'll talk about Tommy Conway because it was a big topic of discussion last week. See where we are this week. Tommy Conway obviously had the opportunity to make it 3-2. He's took it on his, for me, he's took it on his wrong foot. He took it on his weaker foot, his left foot, and he's blazed it into the north stand. For me, when he's not full of confidence, I would have thought the better option would have been for him to open his body up on his favoured right foot and hit it back across the goalkeeper, hitting the target to put the ball away. He snatched at it, put it over the bar. Now, Tommy Conway, I've just got a few stats for you. Simon, I'll come to you on this. So, Tommy Conway against Oxford. I've just went back the last 3 games. Tommy Conway against Oxford. Obviously, no goals. XG 0.04, assists none, expected assists 0.01, chances created none, shots off target none, shots on target none, shots off target none. Coventry, no goals, XG 0.55, assists none, expected assists none, chances created none, shots on target none, shots off target 1. And then we're moving to yesterday's game against Derby County. Goals obviously none, XG none, assists none, expected assists 0.05, chances created 2, shots off target none, shots off target none. This can't continue, can it, Simon?
I don't think so. No, I think I was messaging Bandy before the game when I knew before the pause when I knew I was going to be on because I thought the Tommy debate had come up. I feel for him in a sense that he's clearly low on confidence. I feel he's hiding, and that sounds crazy because, you know, not crazy. I don't think he's making good runs. Actually, I think the only running he's doing at the moment is that I'm going to run 50 yards to try and close down the goalkeeper. It's not come off once. It's wasted energy, in my opinion. But it appeals to the fans because it's like Tommy's working his butt off. But it's not really working. And when you do want him to run a channel, or you want him to drop in short, or you want him to dart to the front post, that's the one that gets me as a striker. The amount of times I watched on Tuesday night that he had the opportunity to gamble front post, and he didn't make that run. And you watch great strikers, or you listen to great strikers talk like Lineker, and they talk about getting to the front post, get level with the front post, and he's not making those runs. And I don't know whether that's I can't believe he's going out there to try and avoid getting in goal scoring positions, but I think for his own good. And I was, I don't think I was on the pod post Wrexham, but I was one of the fans post Wrexham. You can't start a game without Tommy Conway. He made such a difference when he came on. His work rate's brilliant. But actually, we'll obviously talk about yesterday's game in a little while. I think we've got to the point where, for his own good, we need to take him out the starting lineup, and get that. I don't know, that hunger to get on the end of a ball, or that confidence back somehow. But yeah, we can't have a striker that's not scored for so long and not creating chances and not actually taking shots. It's like you're playing with 10 men almost, isn't it?
What are his strengths not help him if he was coming off the bench for a few games, Graham? And what I mean by that is like Simon's alluded to there, the fans like his energy. They like him closing down goalkeepers and running the hard yards. In my opinion, like Simon's a little bit of a wasted energy, and is it there for sure because he's lacking in confidence? Possibly, but he's won 14 games now without a goal. He scored 5 in his last 32, which is really poor. I know he doesn't get lots of chances during the game. I'm sure he'd rather have 4 and 5 chances a game rather than the 1 or 2 he's getting when he's low on confidence. That's a problem I think Kim Hellberg will probably solve very quickly, by the way. But at the moment, with his strengths, I think if you just said to Tommy Conway, listen, come out the side, calm down, have a think about it. You're still going to get on because it's a squad game now. The next 2 or 3 games, you're just going to sit on the bench, give somebody else a little bit of a run. But the last 20 minutes, last half an hour, you're still going to get on. Then, when you come on, you're playing against defenders who are tired. They've played for 60, 70 minutes. You're going to be fresh. You're full of energy. There's normally more chances created in the last 20 minutes of a game than there is normally the first half of a game. Let's see if you can get on the end of one late on, get a goal, get your confidence back up, and get yourself back on the side. That would be the way I would manage it if I was Kim Hellberg. What would you do, Graham?
Yeah, there's a few ways you can look at this, right? So if you go back to the Tommy Conway of last season, he looks a complete shadow this season, in this particular period of time. We look at the supply line last season. We had Ben Doak on that right-hand side. Now, if you're playing with Ben Doak, who incidentally is his friend, so there's that telepathy straight away, there's that communication instantly for them. Ben Doak was just putting balls on the plate, near post. Tommy was there, he was tapping them in. Now we've got Callum Britton, who is more than capable of doing the same job, and he has put plenty of balls across this season, which for some reason, you're spot on in saying Tommy is not making the right runs. I do agree with that. He's channeling all his energy into wasted energy. He was trying to take a corner yesterday. He's like, what are you doing there, mate? Get in the bloody box. Get in the box, mate. Stop messing about. Yeah. Channel running. If I was the manager, I'd sit him down and say, look, this is your job. You stay in and around that penalty box. You act like a predator. You play like a predator. I don't want you dropping back. I don't want you coming deep. I don't want you going channel left. I don't want you going channel right. Stay in that penalty area and sniff goals out. Get on the end of things. However, I'll concede, up until obviously the miss, I was keen to play him. I still was keen to play him because I just believe that you've got to play through bad form because he's proven that he can do it. 13 goals last season is a very respectable goal haul, and I still think he's capable of achieving that this season. However, he's in a terrible rut of form, and the key word for me is confidence. He can do what he can do. We know what he can do, but confidence is a massive thing in football. We've seen some very good players go on bad runs. Fernando Torres at Chelsea, Diego Forlan at Man United. Even Bernie went 4, 5, 6, 7 games without a goal for Boro. So it does happen. Alan Shearer never scored for 9 games for England. So it can happen to good footballers. I do believe there's a good player there, but I think you're right. After yesterday, he was rightfully given a start. I think the manager sat him down, looked at him in training, because he must be doing something well in training, because he must be sharp to be getting starts. Every manager's played him, so he's doing something right. However, yesterday he just looked like he was hiding. He looked like he didn't want to be there, to be honest. Yet at the end, he's part of the celebrations. So he's a good team bonding player. However, he needs help. And probably now I will concede that the help required should be to sit a game or two out, to just observe and see how he can impact the game when he comes on. So yeah, after that miss, it's a hard comeback really. So I was pleased he started yesterday. I thought that was good management, but it didn't take Hellberg too long really to bring him off in the second half, and he made some very positive substitutions, and the substitutions actually impacted the game more so than what Tommy did when he was on. But stick by him though. Don't make it a black or white argument. You've got to stick by your players. We've seen the situation with Morgan Whittaker, where he was getting jeered and whatnot at Preston, and he's come back stronger. And he looks like, to me now, he looks like one of the first names on the team sheet. I've been critical of him at times.
I agree with that, Graham. To be clear, I'm on the side where Tommy Conway should be removed from the team. I think he should have been removed a few weeks ago. However, I think Tommy Conway is a more than capable championship striker, and I think he will, like you've just said, he will come back when he gets his confidence back, and he will go on a run. He will score goals for the football club. So to be clear, Tommy Conway is still a really important part of this squad.
I don't think he. I think there's an element as well that he's sort of not had much competition. If you think when he was probably at his best, it was when Latte and him were, both. It was almost a constant debate every week. Who do we start? Oh, we're falling out with Latte. Get Tommy in. Hang on, we know we're missing Latte. So there was always that. You could almost go to every game going, it could be you, it could be you, it might be both. Where up until yesterday, probably the reason for playing Tommy, in my opinion, was who else are you going to put there instead? So he's not had, and we know. But like John being a bit complacent that he's always going to be on the pod, and I come in and have a great, episode today, and John gets a little bit worried about his place next, But his complacency kicks in a little bit, and there could have been an element of that. He doesn't strike me as a character that does take his place for granted, but he also must have looked at the other options and thought, Strelic's injured, Sen's not really done it. I'm going to play anyway. So I think he might also need that little bit of a kick up the backside to say, you're not going to be first choice, and that just might get an extra 5-10% out of him as well.
Yesterday's substitution might have concerned him a little bit, because Calais Sen did actually have an impact. We've got Strelec fit now, who looked okay, but he still didn't get involved enough for me, but he still looked okay. So the options are there now for Conway to be possibly replaced, and the system that he played yesterday was quite strange. So it'll be interesting to see who fits where.
We'll get into that in a second, because we're going to come to Derby County. Before we go to Derby County, I've just got to plug this. You might have seen something on the social media, which we put out recently, regarding the December prize draw for the Typical Boro podcast. Our fantastic sponsors, Midas Cladden of Middlesbrough, have again come up trumps again for this podcast. And I'm delighted to say that for the December prize draw, we are going to give away a Middlesbrough half-season card. But not just one, we're going to give away 2. So, free prize draw to enter, and you could be the winner of 2 free season cards for the rest of the season at the Riverside Stadium, which is a fantastic prize for Christmas. All the details are on Facebook, they're on X. So if you just go on there, and I'm also going to say, please, if you're enjoying the podcast, enjoying the prize draws and what we do, please subscribe to the podcast. It massively helps with. Get on board. Tell your friends, tell your family. Get on board. Get subscribed. Leave comments. Leave likes on all the platforms. It massively helps with, and we can continue to put this content out in prize draws for you every single month. So, again, thank you to Midas Cladden and Middlesbrough. Graham, I'm going to come to you before getting to Derby County. There was a fantastic atmosphere yesterday at Kim Hellberg's first game to Riverside. The Red faction again put on a fantastic T4 display behind the goal. You just wanted to have a little bit comment on the Red faction and the impact they're having at Middlesbrough Football Club this season.
Yeah, I just want to reflect back to when times were really bad, when we had Gordon Strachan as manager and things weren't going too well. We had maybe 100 people in the South Stand at that point, and maybe 10 of them were a couple of guys with a drum. So I've watched that Red faction section evolve, and yesterday it was just an encapsulation of how good they are and what they can achieve. That was magnificent yesterday. I felt really proud. Felt proud for them for what they created. It was all handmade. It was all their own doings. No involvement with the football clubs. See a lot of teams now, they're asking the PR departments to build these T4s and things, and these guys have done everything off their own bat, which is brilliant. So I just want to echo what many people are saying. I think it's a brilliant achievement for them, and it's really, really good for Middlesbrough Football Club. The South Stand itself is a magnificent spectacle. It really, really sort of helps the team, and I've put some stats together, Dicko and Si, which you'd be very, very impressed with.
I like these stats.
I don't know whether anyone else will be impressed with this, but I am, and you should be, Dicko. Right,
I will be goals in the South Stand.
this is good. This is good. Right, league home games this season, played 9. League home wins 6. Second half wins at the South Stand 5. First half wins at the South Stand 1. So every game we've won, the South Stand, I think, has impacted that victory. The only draw we've had at home was Wrexham, and Hackney's equaliser was at which end? The South Stand. So for me, it just shows that they're making a massive impact. Obviously, start of the season, we looked like we were trying to switch things around and kick at the South Stand second half. I think that was an inspired decision, whoever came up with that, because it's working. And you can see the rapport at the end when we get victories. The players are straight over to the Red faction. We saw Hellberg meekly wander over last night. He doesn't seem the sort of guy that wants to get involved too much. He's here to do a job, but I'm sure he really appreciated that at the end. So brilliant to see, and I just want to see more of that. And I want to see the South Stand impacting the game as much as they can. Not just the South, but every other stand. But they're the standout supporters at the moment for me. I think they're brilliant.
And it's interesting. Tuesday night, Coventry switched it round, didn't they?
So there you go. So they must have statisticians more qualified than me, obviously, to do their homework on teams and work out how they can just sort of make it more difficult for the home team. And we're making it easy for ourselves by obviously winning the toss and kicking that way, because I do think it's having an impact. So well done, Boro, and well done, the fans.
Yeah, well, it certainly did yesterday, that's for sure. Obviously, Middlesbrough won the game yesterday 2-1, courtesy of 2 late goals from Matt Targett and Morgan Whittaker. There was 4 changes yesterday. Luke Ayling, Sammy Silvera, Aidan Morris, Riley McGree came out the side. Matt Targett, Alex Bangura, first start in 22 months for Middlesbrough Football Club, came back. Son Johansson and Delano Bergzog were the players that came in. Graham, I seen you before the game. I stood next to you for the game. Thoughts on the first half?
Obviously, it was a disastrous start. I think people thought Hellberg was going to come in and gradually implement his methods and his system. We didn't see that. We saw the highest line I've ever seen and one of the craziest goals we'll ever concede. Keeper punts it out, pops back in, pops over the top. Jones has been done quite quickly and he's away. Come on, how would you pronounce his name?
Agyemang, Patrick Agyemang.
Patrick Agyemang. It was like lightning. He was off and you knew he was going to score. And that was the most disastrous possible start we could imagine. However, we didn't panic. Neither did Hellberg. I watched him there on the touchline, arms crossed, baseball cap on, biblical conditions. He knew that there was no reason to panic. We gradually got a foothold in the game and wrestled our way back into it. Obviously, the substitution second half made a massive difference. And for me, once we got Riley McGree, the little wizard, the orchestrator, and everything that we do well, got a grip of the game. I was quite confident that we were going to win it once we'd equalised.
I thought we were comfortably the better side, really. We got off to a terrible start, as you say, with the goal. And you know when these teams come who are going to waste time and put 10 behind the ball and make it difficult for you, you know when they get that first goal, it's going to be a long afternoon. And it was, have Middlesbrough got it in them to go on and win the game? And if late, you'd probably say no, because we haven't been scoring a free scoring team lately. However, I thought with the players that were missing yesterday, the lineup that were put out, it was a fantastic 3 points. Because I think, let's be honest, when you rocked up the Riverside yesterday and that lineup was announced, everybody was just, what's going on here? Not only were you shocked that Luke Ayling wasn't involved, obviously he's injured, nobody realised, but to see Riley McGree taking out the team for Delano Bergzog, and you're looking at the team and thinking, wow, this could be a real long afternoon. 2 minutes gone, the heavens have opened, it's torrential rain, you're 1-0 down, and Kim Hellberg must have been thinking, could I possibly have got off to a worse start as Middlesbrough manager?
In a perverse kind of way, it was good that we'd actually conceded so early, because it gave him time to think. He's gone through every single emotion yesterday in 95 minutes of football. So he'll now know that we've got that capability in our locker to come back quickly at teams. And he made substitutions to ensure that we did that, and we went on to actually win the game. But like you said, Dicko, when I saw the lineup, I thought, okay, we'll do okay to get a point today, just don't get beat. But we had far more than what I expected, to be honest. The inclusion of Bangura, who's been out for nearly 2 years, was unbelievable. He was fantastic yesterday. Man of the match, clearly, for me, by a mile. And then Callum Britton's pushing for honours as well. He was brilliant. So the two full-backs were excellent, which gave us that impetus to attack them and get forward and pick them off. And try and get behind that low block, which was horrid to watch from our point of view, because she's just thinking we're not going to break these guys down again. John Eustace done it before to us for Blackburn. The beat us in the cup, then the beat us in the league. 2 1-0 games, and we had no answer to it. But yesterday we found a formula, we found a way. As I say, the introduction of McGree opened them up. We played very narrow yesterday. I've never seen us play as narrow as that. It was a 4-4-2-2-2. A lot of people saying it was a 4-2-3-1, but we had 3 pairs of two, and then obviously the 2 wing backs are supplying the width, and they did terrifically well. So good yesterday, the pair of them, and they were pivotal in that win for us.
Simon, Kim Hellberg's first game, your thoughts yesterday? Tactically from Kim Hellberg, did he do anything that you locked onto and thought that's different from previous weeks, or little tweaks? Did you notice anything in the game?
So you've mentioned him already, but I thought the introduction of Bangura was brilliant. I get so frustrated in modern day football at wingers that invert, but when you see fullbacks, when we've been playing Silvera as a left back cutting inside on his right foot, it's one of my biggest frustrations in football, to be honest. So I thought to have a left footer at left back, even though Target's a left back, a left footed centre back at centre back. Huge credit to the back four yesterday. I thought, you mentioned both full-backs, but I thought Matt Target playing as a centre-back and Alfie Jones, after argue it was his fault, the first goal, he should have taken that tackle to then recover, and he's been a brilliant, for me, he's been our best signing of the window. He's been absolutely brilliant. So I think to see that flat back four, and I think we'll see a flat back four under Hellberg. I think
flat pack four, Bandy, isn't it?
Flat pack four, yeah.
You've been my joke.
I think we'll see that. I think that'll be a constant. But as you said, the high line, a little bit of a worry because we don't have necessarily the quickest defenders. So again, I thought for the back four to play like they did, I'd have been frustrated as a Derby fan, because it was almost their worst nightmare with the Eustace side. That you go 1-0 up after a minute, they're going to sit back for 89. I thought we were there to be got at yesterday, and they didn't entertain really trying to get at us that much, did they? So it was then all in our...
They just had a Bangyang. I still can't pronounce that. Dear me. That was their only outball, really. He was then what was threat, I thought.
What I loved yesterday about the substitutions, when you're playing a team that plays really deep, you want your best footballers on the ball, and you quite often flood the pitch with attacking players. I thought to bring Riley on and play him as a deep-lying central midfielder, he arguably played deeper than Hackney when he came on, got hold of the ball. He was getting hold of the ball in the right-back area when he first came on. to then start pinging the ball forward, I thought that was a really clever substitution, and that really impressed me. That was probably the thing that stood out for me, that impressed me yesterday. That the introduction of Riley and where he put him when he came onto the pitch, that gave me a big insight into he wants to get good footballers on the pitch. He brought Naipan on, which we've not done in the last few games.
Good to see him.
He quickly worked out which players. Berzog wasn't working, Tommy wasn't working. I was surprised actually we didn't make a change at half-time, but it come quite quickly after half-time, didn't it? So, I thought it was impressive all round. We'll talk about the players that aren't. I think there'll be players that slowly get phased out. Berzog being probably top of the list for me under the new boss.
He was awful yesterday, wasn't he, Berzog?
Yeah.
Nothing he does is coming off.
Well, you know what you're going to get from him when he starts. You know at some point he's coming off because he doesn't impact the game at all.
Matt Clark had him in his pocket.
Yeah.
He looked frightened of Matt Clark, and every time Matt Clark went near him, he didn't want to know. He's standing there, his gloves on. It drives me crazy.
Me too.
Drives me crazy. He just gives off the vibes that he's not all in. We don't need passengers at this time in the season. Another bit of credit I'd give to yesterday, and he also done reasonably well at Coventry as well, was Sanjay Hansen.
Yeah.
Looks a real good footballer, intelligent. Gives us something a little bit different, a little bit of magic, clever pass, a little bit of pace, takes a player on. I think Sanjay Hansen could blossom, Graham, under Kim Hellberg.
Absolutely. We saw glimpses early part of the season, but for some reason he just didn't quite fit into that Edwards formula. However, we've now got a different manager with different methods, a different philosophy, who likes to attack a little bit more. So we might start to see some players flourish in that final third, and he's most definitely one of them. We saw glimpses in the Coventry game when he come on, and he just few little flicks and tricks and little round the corner passes, a few no look passes as well, which is nice to see. It's nice to see players express themselves and try things a little bit different in the right areas, not in the edge of our own box. But I think he'll do really well, and he certainly cemented another start for me yesterday after his performance, because he occupies 2 or 3 players, which stops teams coming out on you. So if we can leave him up, then it gives the opposition something to think about. It's a matter of time before he gets on the end of something as well, because he's bright, he's busy, he's alert, he's attentive, he wants to get involved. He'll win you a lot of free kicks as well, because he made some great runs yesterday, some penetrating runs running at the defence, and he's going to get chopped down in key areas where we can get some free kicks. And we're not bad at free kicks at the moment. So,
and I'd also like to give a little bit of credit to a player that I said a few weeks ago doesn't do enough for me, and to be part of a team that's going for automatic promotion maybe shouldn't be starting for Middlesbrough. And I actually said I wouldn't be too bothered if he was moved on in January. And I'm talking about Morgan Whittaker, and he's another player that divides opinion. I think when he got sort of jeered at Preston, it's grew feet and legs as if this guy's been under constant criticism from the Middlesbrough fans. I think that's been blown out of proportion. That's one game in 35, 36 games from the lad where he got a little bit of stick at Preston. However, that's what happens in football. You've got to be big enough and have broad enough shoulders to take that and come back. So I'd like to give Morgan Whittaker a bit of credit for coming back, because he could have went under. He hasn't went under. He's came back. I'm not saying he's still, a start every week for me, but his stats are starting to improve. His game performance is starting to improve. 17 games now, 5 goals, 2 assists. Isn't too shabby. I think the last 2 games against Coventry and yesterday are arguably 2 of his best performances in a Middlesbrough shirt. He's starting to produce what we need him to produce. I've got no problem with Morgan Whittaker playing game in, game out at Middlesbrough if he's producing performances like he has the last few weeks, where he's got end product, where he's creating goals and scoring goals. No problem with it all. Long may it continue. So I'd just like to give Morgan Whittaker a little bit of credit. And also, I loved his little bit of housery yesterday, because he's an ex-Derby player. He was getting stick off the Derby fans early on yesterday in the game every time he went near them. And when he scored the winner, I don't know if it's been lost, but when he scored the winner, a big knee slide right the way across, celebration right in front of the way end, which to me was shows that he's got a bit of character about him, and I really enjoyed that. So
you give it the old ear as well.
Oh, so yeah, give it the old. You can't hear you now. Well done, Morgan Whittaker. Credit to you. Keep it going. Spot on.
Yeah.
Simon, Bandy, you've been impressed with Morgan Whittaker lately?
Yeah, I saw Coventry the other night. He did really well. I think it's interesting. I think the reason he gets a bit of stick, Dick, obviously there's the price tag, but I also think Boro fans can see a footballer in him, and it also, when you see a footballer in someone that's not quite delivering, that almost frustrates you. Herzog, to be honest, should get loads more stick, but it's probably because we've almost gone, we didn't pay that much for him. He's not ever going to really make it. But Morgan Whittaker, I feel like I get frustrated because I can see the potential in him. You can see him cut inside sometimes. So, as you said, I don't think there should ever be not allowed to get stick. But yeah, he's probably had it a little bit tougher. But I thought Tuesday night he worked really well. I think the one thing, if he could just, and it's hard to say, be a bit tougher at times. You just want him to. Yeah. I'd love to see him just elbow a player one game, get off me, or do a sliding tackle, or just that. And I know that's not the biggest part of his game, but if he could just add that element to it, just work a bit harder when he hasn't got the ball sometimes, or Tuesday night, second half, the ball come into him and it, like a trampoline pass, as I call, comes in, bounces straight off him and you've given the ball away. That little bit's still frustrating. But actually, when he's on the ball, he looks like he knows what he wants to do. He's intelligent on the ball. So, yeah, and there's no better options at the moment, in honesty. So, we need him to come good. And he has. 5 goals is a great return from where we were at the beginning of the season with him.
He's predictable on the ball, but he's good in what he does, and he's unstoppable at times. When he comes in on that left foot, he's got an absolute traction engine of a shot. It's honestly, he connects with the ball so well. Previous games, he would have snatched at things and he would have sliced the ball. It would have trickled out of play. He wouldn't have connected properly. He's got his head together, and absolute credit to him. Going back to that Preston substitution, it was a mix, I think. Like you said, Dicko, I do agree with you in that respect. I don't think it was continual booing and fans getting on his case. It was more like frustration from supporters. A lot of supporters on these away games are quite well fueled, to be fair. And, if someone ain't playing well, they'll give it you. So let's not go into that too much, but there was a case of Naipan coming on at the same time, and I think fans wanted to see him play as well. So he's recovered from that. Rob Edwards at the time, dare I defend him, he did come out and he nipped that in the bud straight away, and I thought he did well in that respect. And since then, Whittaker's looked a different player. He's probably now one of the first names on the team sheet because his numbers are racking up. And if, like Si correctly points out, I've always said it as well, if he's a little bit more aggressive, a bit more nasty, a bit more horrible, a bit more housery from him, you're going from a £7 million player to someone into double figures, I think. I think he's got that capability. We could get some serious sell-on value for him.
Let's not get carried away, Bandy.
No.
Yeah,
No, I didn't. I'm not saying 35 million. I'm saying maybe he's gone from a 6 to an 11 or a 12. Because if he continues in this rich vein of form,
I think he's gone from a 1 back to a 5 or 6 at the moment. But anyway, we'll beg to differ on that one.
No, I think there's capabilities there because, like I say, what he does well, and he's unstoppable.
He's doing what he should be doing.
He's doing what he should be doing, but while he's gone through a period of uncertainty and a severe lack of confidence, it's important to pat him on the back and say, well done, kid, you're doing well now, just keep going. He's got some good mentors around him now. I'm sure Eddie Vivash has had a few words with him, put an arm around him and said, you just keep going because you're the star player at the moment.
Speaking of Eddie Vivash, speaking of Eddie Vivash, Simon, you wanted to make a point on the 2 goals yesterday regarding Eddie Vivash.
Yeah, so it was just, obviously we talked a lot about the formation and the style under the new manager, but it's interesting, both goals came from set pieces, which I think the boss said after the game were all the responsibility of AD and the coaching team. So yeah, that was a good takeaway. And actually, I thought it was inevitable they were going to score from a set piece. They just looked massive compared to us. They had so many good corners swinging in, and you've not.
They're missing Carlton Morris though, which is a huge miss for them. I think Middlesbrough really did.
In the same way,
get away with one with Carlton Morris missing.
In the same way, we missed Fry and Ayling as well.
We've looked a little bit vulnerable from our own set plays recently, and probably one for another pod. But Sol's sort of command of his area in the 6-yard box is a little bit of a concern for mine on corners at the moment. But anyway, our 2 goals came from obviously our own set plays. I think if you said Matt Target header from centre back in Hellberg's first game was that'd have been a coupon buster. And then full of confidence, Whittaker taking the ball, slight variation of the corner. So credit. One, it's brilliant that AD stayed, I think. I think it's really good for a young manager to have that sort of experience alongside him. He's obviously been impressed by him. So, yeah, credit to the coaching team as well yesterday.
In his interview after the game, Morgan Whittaker made the point on the goal, which I was delighted to hear. He didn't just shoot on goal. He deliberately said, I put it in an area to the back post, hoping that somebody would get a touch and put it in, but also knowing if I hit it right and nobody touches it, it could possibly go in. So I like that intelligence by Morgan Whittaker, that he was deliberately putting it into an area rather than just hitting it, blindly, shall I say.
I'm glad he took the initiative and realised that he was playing on a greasy pitch as well. Because we were saying all game, Dicko, why don't we just drop the ball 5 or 6 yards in front of that keeper and hit low drives? Every shot you put across the box, hit that 6-yard area, but keep it low. Because the conditions were atrocious, really. It's good.
Well, Hackney had the chance, didn't he, Graham? Hackney had the chance early in the second half, edge of the box.
Yes.
Open his body up right. If he had just bent it in the bottom corner, it's a goal all day. But he lifted it and it was unlucky. It just went over the top corner into the stand. Just would have been a great goal if it went in. Credit to him. It didn't. But I just think in them situations, play the conditions. If he had just whipped it low and hard, it probably goes in the bottom corner.
He almost needed to just caress that into the corner, but I think he saw the open area in the goal and went for a bit of glory. That's my only. I wouldn't say criticism, because he's a quality actor, is Hackney. He's absolutely fantastic, but he could be even better if he just had a little bit more composure with his shooting. But that'll come in time. He's still young and he's still a massive driving force for our team.
Two stats regarding Kim Hellberg yesterday. I've got to have at least a couple of stats, haven't I, guys?
I'm the stat man now.
So regarding Kim Hellberg yesterday, saying did he have an impact? Simon's just said both goals came from set pieces, which was probably down to 85 Ash. However, possession yesterday, guys, 74%. That's the highest possession Middlesbrough have had all season in any game, home or away. So that's a big change immediately under Kim Hellberg. Secondly, shots in the game by Middlesbrough, 21 shots on goal yesterday. Not on target, obviously, in the game, off target and on target, 21 shots on goal. That's the highest amount of shots Middlesbrough have had in any game, home or away, this season. So I thought that was quite interesting that on game one, under Kim Hellberg, we've had A, more possession, and B, more shots. So that's, for me, a real positive moving into next week and the week after. Can we keep that level of possession and shots on goal going? Because if we do, we're going to win more games. That's an absolute fact.
He'll be rubbing his hands after yesterday, knowing that he can assert his style of play onto the group of players that we've got. He spoke fondly about Pep Guardiola, De Zerbi, Bielsa. He's a possession-based manager, and he wants to assert his authority on the opposition and squeeze play. Like I said earlier, the high line, we had them boxed in. Their low block, they were pretty much sat next to their keeper at some stage of the game. Going back to the fullbacks and the narrow system, we've got the two and the two. So we're playing very central, but we're actually overloading. So we're stopping. We're keeping the ball from the opposition in the key area of the pitch. And then when your wing backs can get forward, it's going out wide. And then we've already got bodies in there to get into the box. So it's a very brave, bold style. I don't think he's going to change it now. I didn't think we'd implement that so quickly, but he has done, and he's got to win. So that's going to give him confidence to go and try that again. It might be a little bit different when there's teams who are a lot more counter-attacking with pace. I didn't think Blackburn had any pace barring the guy that scored the goal. So they were no real threat. Their threat for me came from set plays and long throw-ins. And obviously, credit to them, they targeted our centre-backs because we didn't have the ones available that we would normally play. Against Coventry as well, they were targeting Silvera. They were targeting the height. Lampard's not stupid either. So, yeah, his style, I was a little bit concerned that we would be wide open. We weren't as wide open as I thought we'd be. However, we might get caught out playing that high line against teams who are far better attacking us with pace. But it's a brave style, and fortune favours the brave. At times, it was a little bit carrot ball. We did a lot of side-to-side stuff first half, but a little bit more penetrative in the second half, thankfully.
Simon Bandy's just mentioned there that Frank Lampard attacked Middlesbrough's lack of height, shall we say, for set pieces. Just talking about the injury situation, Simon, at the moment, is it a concern moving into the period of Christmas and New Year where games are coming thick and fast now with no international breaks on the horizon till March? Darragh Lenihan, long-term injury, George Edmondson, no sign of him coming back. Luke Ayling, surprise omission yesterday. Aidan Morris, not available. Son Johansson went off with an injury. Dale Fry, still not back. Is it a concern moving into the hectic period now that we need some bodies back, Simon, don't we?
Definitely defensively, we do. Yeah, the concern at centre back, as you said. I think we always. I don't know. I can't remember when I was last on the pod. But I remember sort of very beginning of the season. I think we were talking about Neto Borg going out on loan, and there was a slight concern at the time. Were we going to be one short at centre back, knowing that Dale Fry has a terrible injury record, Edmonton's had a terrible injury record. We have a signing that's not arriving until January, so. It was interesting that he brought Baptiste on yesterday. He's obviously identified very quickly that we are going to have a problem there. And I thought, one, it was a brave substitution, but also give me a little bit of, okay, you've already identified that we're going to have to bring somebody arguably from the academy. I know we signed him recently from Spurs, but we're going to probably have to turn to some of our younger players in the next couple of months because it's inevitable we are going to end up short there. I can't see how Bangura could play every game having not played for 2 years. Therefore, we're probably going to need Target on the left. As I've already said, I don't think he'll see Silvera as a left-back option because he's right-footed and that definitely doesn't fit his style of football. So might be that he needs to turn to Alan Brown perhaps and put Alan Brown back there like we did with Johnny Howson last season once Morris is fit. Or, as we saw yesterday, bringing Riley in as one of those two of the two, the sort of deep-lying two. But yeah, it's definitely a worry. I think the only thing I would say in this league is looking at the teams around us, I suspect, barring maybe an Ipswich or a Southampton that have bigger squads, I think with the intensity of the games, every other team's going to be in a very similar situation. I don't know everybody's other injury record, but it's just brutal, isn't it, the Championship? So I think you'll find that other teams are also going to be struggling as well. So,
what's happened to that young lad who was, I can't remember who he's called now, was signed for £1.5 million centre-back? Doesn't seem to be around.
Harley Hunt.
That's right. Yeah, Harley Hunt. That's right.
Yeah.
£1.5 million. He just seems to have dropped off the radar. And you see Archie Baptiste, who were brought in from Spurs under 21s. He's just actually turned 20 in October, and he's getting in the squad and on the pitch. And that Harley Hunt, £1.5 million, just seems to have dropped off the radar.
If I remember, someone hopefully will correct me. He made his debut in that Stoke game, the Carabao Cup, where they
yes, he did the 4-0 defeat or 5-0 defeat. Yeah, he did.
They destroyed us, and he's not kicked the ball since. So maybe at the time they just thought, I don't know, he might have been at a lower level. I don't know, but he's not featured since. And considering our horrific injury record, I'm surprised he's not made the bench a couple of times. So I don't know. I don't know where he's at.
But well done to Archie Baptiste.
Oh, brilliant.
Good to see good to see him get his debut and get young players into the team. And also credit to Kim Hellberg to, like Simon says, identify that and give young lads a chance straight away.
He was only on a couple of minutes and played like a man. He won that towering header.
He's a big lad.
And put that header 20, 30 yards up the pitch. Just killed us a few vital seconds. And then he won another header. So, yeah, well done. Great to see a young kid come on and grasp his opportunity. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of him because he certainly doesn't look like a young kid. He looks like a seasoned professional. He's a unit. So, yeah, brilliant.
Next six games, Simon. We'll go to Hull on Friday night, which is going to be a good game. Hull, tremendous result for Hull City away at Stoke. Come back 2-1. I was listening to the game, watching some of the game. Stoke looked like they were going to run away with it, win by 3 or 4 goals, but somehow Hull turned it around, ended up taking the 3 points. So we've got Hull City. But I would argue that Middlesbrough have got a decent chance over the next 6 games to really cement themselves in that top 3. Hull on Friday night, Hull are 7th in the league. Then we'll go to Charlton away, who are 17th in the league. QPR at home, 13th in the league. Bristol City away, who are 6th. Then we've got back-to-back home games at Christmas. Blackburn, who are 18th. And then the return of Hull City for the home game. They aren't too bad fixtures on paper, I don't think, Simon, for the next 6 games for Middlesbrough. And we should be targeting a few wins there, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really interesting league, isn't it, this year, in that there's, apart from Coventry, no real standout teams, but there's also no real weak teams like your Rotherhams of the previous seasons, which I think is good for us. So I think you're almost, there's not much between third and fourth and probably 19th, 20th, to be honest. So but within that group, you would say there's none of those teams that should be better than us. I think we're a better team than all of the teams that you've just mentioned. But also, I don't think we'll go into those games going, they're 19th, we should walk over them, which has often been a problem with typical Boro in the past. So I expect a good return. I think the whole manager's done a great job. I think me and Graham are both big fans, I think, of Gelhardt, who was at Leeds.
I wanted just to get in.
I've championed for years how I'd have loved to have seen him at Middlesbrough. I remember him going away to watch us at Wigan a number of years ago, and gosh, he was just similar to Wayne Rooney as I've seen in a football show. I thought he was class, and he was only 16, 17 at the time. I think he's at 9 goals already. So yeah, credit to their manager, because their manager had them struggling. Went on to get the Leicester job, I think, didn't he? Sells. And then the new managers, I won't even try and pronounce his name, has done a great job with them. So I think of the fixtures, actually, Hull will be the difficult one, I think, of all of those. But I fancy us to get a good return in the others. Friday night, we're generally good, aren't we, under the lights, even though we're away? So it should be. I think you'll go to the game, Bandy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm off to Hull.
There'll be a big away following there as well, so it always helps.
Yeah, it's a tricky place to go. They're in form. They've got some life up front. Obviously, Crooksy's there as well. So if they're pinging long balls into him, that could be an issue for us. And then you've got Gelhardt playing off him. I think Big McBurney's injured at the moment, so that's decent, because he hit the ground running at the start of the season. Another player who I wanted us to sign in the summer, just to give us a different dimension.
I think we'll need Luke Ayling or Dale Fry back for the Friday night game if we're going to take anything from Hull.
Excuse the pun. They will target. They'll target Brown if he's in there, and they'll target anybody else who's a makeshift defender.
Yeah. We'll get into some fans' questions before we wrap up, guys. I'll come to you, Graham, on the first one. Paul McLean, is back again. Paul,
Paul.
He's come in saying, I feel we need to try and go on a winning run and win the next 3 games just to try and keep Coventry in sight. If we don't, some other team will. No disrespect to the teams we have got coming up, but we need to take advantage of the next 3 matches. So we've just been discussing that. So the next 3 games Paul's on about, obviously, is Hull away, Charlton away, QPR at home. 7 points, guys. That would do, wouldn't it?
Just the old cliche. Take each game as it comes. I never like looking too far forward for games, because you never know what the team's going to be. We saw the team yesterday at the start of the game. You think, bloody hell, how are we going to get a point here? And then we went and won it. So you can be surprised in each game. That's the beauty of the Championship. They might have horrific injuries, so we could go there and capitalise. We might have more injuries, and we go there without a proper team, a patchwork quilt of a team, which is what it resembled yesterday for me. So tricky games. The mindset of the players has got to change now. Under Edwards, you're probably thinking, right, okay, be solid, 3 at the back, counter with the wing backs, just don't get beat. Whereas now, Hellberg's come in, he'd be saying to the players, forget about what's going on at the back. We need to score some goals. We need to outscore the opposition. So we could get caught out in these games. So it's difficult. Yeah. But looking at the lower, echelons of the league, the teams we're playing are down there. So you've got to be brave, I guess, and go to these places and try and play them at their own game and beat them. But it's tricky. Let's just get Hull. Let's navigate Hull first and see if we can pick up something there, because that will be tough. But Charlton, then the 17th, did you say?
Yeah.
You've got to believe that you've got enough to go there and pick up 3 points. So
they're on a bad run, Charlton, as well. They've lost 3 or 4 in a row.
If we can pick up two wins in the next 3 games, then I'll be more than content, and a draw be an added bonus. But it's important we just stay in that top 2. Yesterday was brilliant for us. The results went for us, and for once we capitalised on the other team's deficiencies. It's just for me, we've got to stay in that second spot. I think we deserve it. We're 18 games in now. We're there for a reason, because we've been solid. Give us the platform to actually not lose games, even though we've been on a bit of a run. We've not won for 7 games, apart from yesterday. So the other teams are having the same issues, apart from Coventry. You may as well give them the title now. But
it's our biggest point haul since Aitor Karanka, isn't it? 33 points. It's the most points we've had in 10 years.
So that bodes well, doesn't it?
we can strengthen again. If we can just stay in and around the top 2, 3, 4 in the league until January, that gives us every chance that Hayden Hackney will stay. It gives us every chance that Steve Gibson will give Kim Hellberg some money to strengthen further. And if we do that, I think we're going to have a real good end to the season. Simon, I'll come to you. RM's question is, how good is it when a team spends all game taking ages over restarts to take the lead, with 5 minutes to go, and draws fouls and throw-ins to give them a taste of their own medicine?
Oh, absolutely. You can't beat it, can you? You can't beat it when the keeper that's held onto the ball. In fact, I think their keeper broke the rules twice yesterday. The referee didn't pull. Because I think that's been a great introduction, that rule this season for me. I think just keepers having to play that little bit quicker. I've loved keepers that picked the ball up and booted it
rule.
long.
I think their keeper thought it was 8 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. And there's nothing, there's no better fan banter, is there, when you're giving it back to them when they've given it to you for 85 minutes. As I said earlier, I'd have been really disappointed as a Derby fan yesterday. I think Eustace I always feel he's a bit anti-football sometimes, and I've seen it 2 or 3 times from him. But to sit back for arguably 89 minutes, they almost got what they deserved yesterday, I think. And that's my slight reservation about the tactics and the new manager is, how is this going to look when a team doesn't just sit for 89 minutes on the 18-yard box and they actually have a go at a high-line defence that's a little bit vulnerable. But yeah, it was great to give them a bit of their own medicine in those last 5 minutes. I loved it when McGree dribbled it into the corner when he could have crossed it. Just it's what good footballers do, isn't it? They know where to hold the ball.
I saw his post-match interview and he said, and you correctly said it during the game, Dicko, the last maybe 20 minutes, they tired really, really badly, didn't they? But that's because of the way we played. We're almost doing little rondos in the centre circle. They were chasing us for large parts of that game, and you can back that up with the possession stats as well. So, but yeah, you're right. Anti-football, not a fan of him at all.
Keeman Scott said in his interview earlier in the week, which I think I've noticed this season, we're definitely running more. We've covered a lot more miles than last season, apparently. So, I know he's gone now, the manager, but I feel like we actually had a proper pre-season for the first time in a number of years. It feels like something happened differently in Portugal or wherever they go, or, they maybe did go to the sand dunes in Redcar, whatever. But I think on the whole, we just do look a little bit fitter than last season for me.
I think after a month, you're going to see the players that we've currently got even more fitter. I think they'll be asking. Yeah. He'll be asking some serious demands of them. An extra 3K a game. So let's see if they can live up to that. But it'll serve us well if they can.
Well, all three of us are old enough to remember when John Eustace played for Middlesbrough in a cameo game and he got nicknamed John Useless. So I think there'll be a few Derby fans calling him that yesterday after his tactics. Bandy, Neil Baker, not a great performance, but 3 points is all that matters. Well deserved after Derby's time-wasting antics all game. Unusual system, but it worked. When it's new to the players, then the future looks decent.
Yeah, well, we mentioned the system. Like I said, it was an unusual system, but thankfully the players integrated into it very quickly, and it did serve us well. We played brilliantly, particularly that second half. And going back to Riley, the introduction of him, little magician, he's so good. He can speed play up, he can slow play down, he can take the ball into the channel and kill you half a minute just by holding on to it. He can win you free kicks. He's class. Honestly, since we've started this pod in its infancy, I was used to say he's the first name on the team sheet, and he still should be when fit. He looks sharp at the moment, so I don't want to jinx things by saying, we're going to get many games out of him. But if he's playing in most games, we've got a good chance of picking up points.
Last question, guys, because time's running out. Ironically, his name is TC. He asks Simon, Conway was barely involved in the game. Was barely involved in the game again. Who should start as number 9 at Hull City?
I would give Strelic a run of 5 or 6 games. I think there was a few players yesterday for me. I think Strelic did enough in his cameo just to show we need to work out whether he's good enough, I think, and there's no better time than when the other 9 isn't particularly firing. So I don't think it's a big risk to take Tommy out and put him in. So that would be. I still don't see Sene as a start. I see Sene as an impact player, if I'm being honest, because I'd like to get Naipan and Riley in the team somehow, probably sacrificing Burzog, maybe one of the other attacking players as a result. So I would give Strelic a run. I don't think Strelic's going to play 5 games over Christmas. So I think there's going to be a bit of rotation there, but I'd give Strelic a start.
Graham?
Yeah, it's obviously we spoke about Conway, and I do now think it's the time just to sit him out a couple. I think playing Sene on Friday night might suit us because I think he's a better player away from home. When we may possibly sit in and invite teams on us, and then we can hit them on the break. So it'll probably be raining. It always rains at Hull, so a nice greasy, wet pitch might suit the running, the ambitious running of Calais Sen. So yes, I would probably start him. It just gives us a little bit more dynamism, I guess. And Strelec, you've got to get him fit. You've got to get him playing. So he's due a moment. He's got 1 goal for us. I want to see him get many more, but he's not going to get them if he's just coming off the bench. So if we're going with the 2, which it looks like we will, I don't think he's going to change system just for an away game at Hull. I think he'll go with the flat pack 4 and the 2 holding, and then the 2 sort of mid attackers, and then your 2 forwards. So yeah, I agree with Si. Let's go with Strelec and Calais Sen and try something a little bit different and give them something to think about, because they've probably been watching Conway over the last few weeks and thought, well, if we just force him out into the channel, he's no danger. So yeah.
For what it's worth, my 2 pence is I don't particularly care if he starts Sen or Strelec. I would just give Tommy Conway, sit on the bench, bring him on at some point to see if he can get himself a goal and his confidence up. But I would love to see, moving forward, a Middlesbrough 11 that has Riley McGree, Sonjay Hansen and Morgan Whittaker playing behind a Strelec or a Calais Sen. I think that creativity with one of those up front could just come to fruition and get Middlesbrough firing again. I think that would be a good 4 attacking players to start a game. Hansen, creativity, McGree, creativity, Whittaker, creativity, and as I say, the desire, hopefully, of a Calais Sen or a Strelec to take their opportunity, like Simon says, to get a run of 4 or 5 games. I think that could bode well for Middlesbrough. Quick prediction, and then we're going to wrap up, guys. Bandy, you're going to Hull on Friday night. Prediction?
1-1.
1-1. Simon, Hull Friday night.
2-2.
Prediction? 2-2.
Desmond.
He's going for Desmond there. Going for Desmond.
Ooh.
Well, I'm going to predict that Middlesbrough may have 1 or 2 players back, and they're going to nick the game by 2-1 to the Boro.
Good enough
There
for
we
me.
go.
just
Simon,
don't get
thank you for coming on.
Oh,
Yep, cheers,
always a
Sammy.
pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure.
Class, mate.
Great substitution. Graham, thank you again for coming
Pleasure.
on.
Love it.
Listen, Boro fans, if anybody knows the whereabouts of John Cutler, please get in touch. We're worried for his whereabouts. As I say, 4 cans of Tennent's, the shortbread. If you see him about with his Scotland shirt on with Conway on the back, get in touch with the podcast. But we'll be back next week, hopefully, with Mr. John Cutler. Until then, remember, Boro fans, don't say a typical Boro. Watch it, listen to it, and we'll see you soon. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.